Welcome back to the Grove and to the cauldron of the Kaliak, the crone goddess, goddess of death and rebirth and deep wisdom. Also the cauldron of the great god Dagda, the cauldron that never runs out, always has plenty. I want to read a bit tonight about darkness and the fear that it holds for so many of us. Darkness is an aspect of traditional Greco-Roman Judeo-Christian cosmology that we must examine if we are to learn to find renewed harmony with the planet and with each other. That is, we must examine our culture's traditional view of darkness. For centuries, we have used darkness for the primary metaphor for evil. One might argue that all sorts of bad things happen under the cover of night, but that is an overblown myth that we need only examine briefly to dispel. I don't think there is a police force in the entire world that has more officers on duty during the night than during the day. If the frequency of crime is the determining factor, the daytime should be the metaphor for evil. The simple reason is that the human family does its best mischief when it is awake. Sleeping in the day and functioning in the night is a biological difficulty that most humans avoid. In warfare, it has only been in recent years that we've been able to carry out major offenses at night because we have the technology to make the night mimic the day. What does that tell us? I suspect the motivation for the past 2,000 years of smear campaign against the night is rooted in the reverence for the night that it was so much a part of the old religions. The night, of course, was associated with the power of the goddess and her creative womb, the sanctity of rest, the need for personal communication with the divine outside the company of others, the beauty of mystery, and the need for self-reflection and self-nurturing in order to face the human family as a whole person. The Romanized church that followed in the footsteps of the Roman Empire that gave it birth could not countenance such mushy female egalitarian heresy. It preferred its world of submissive women responsible for the world's descent into sin, its collective and prescribed prayer, its God who created all without the services of an egg or a womb, its oppressive work ethic for the poor, for the middle class, if there must be such a thing, its need to turn social interaction into rule-bound behavior to be monitored by the light of the sun, its cynical use of self-loathing as a spiritual station in life, and its mysteries locked safely away in the cathedrals with the keys firmly and irrevocably in the hands of the priests. There is no controlling a population that prays on its own, honors its mothers, meditates on truth without the benefit of a priest, prays in its own language, honors, loves, and nurtures itself, and has no need to fill the darkness and the mystery with malevolence in order to sanctify all that is light, sun, and male. It is our artificial male hierarchies that need such constant propping up and defending. If the Roman Church wanted to crush the old ways, demonizing the night was a brilliant and effective way to wipe out a great deal of tradition and healthy individuality in one dirty sweep of the blade. A populace that fears the demons and criminals and witches, read women with power, lurking in every shadow, will be reluctant to attend a full moon ritual, or a dusk to dawn vigil in the sacred grove, or a birthing for that matter. Who will sing the praises of the womb's dark rest if darkness belongs to the bad guys? Throw in fire's association with damnation, and you pretty much poop any parties around the Beltane fires. Eventually, we found ourselves so in fear of the night and the mysteries that are the realm of the goddess that we no longer even gave ourselves freedom to venture out in the night and test the fears for ourselves. Had we done so, we may never have lost faith with the goddess and her realm. Tragically, too, we lost reverence for all that is female within ourselves and our siblings and in the human family. Ironically, a population afraid of the night stays inside next to the hearth or the candle and leaves the night open to those who would use its cover for nastiness. Thus, the dehabilitation of the night becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the goddess game is up. Except, of course, that the bad guys stubbornly refuse to cooperate fully and continue to sleep for the most part at night. In modern times, as in the past, the greatest evils come from the boardrooms and the offices and the war rooms assembled in the daytime. The fight against the night is an unfinished work at best. The Take Back the Night movement among feminists in recent years further complicates the continued effort by our male-dominated culture to edit the beauty of the goddess time. But the greatest threat to the demonization of fully one half of our time on the planet is the stubborn uncooperativeness of the night herself. She insists upon being what she is, and what she is beautiful. Who can sustain fear and loathing we are supposed to embrace while gazing up at the full moon etched with the shadow of a nesting bird or a winter branch? Who cannot feel drawn to the blue glow of a lover's skin on the sheets illumined by the moonbeams sighing through the open window after a household has lain to sleep? Who can vilify the twilight that brings the happy croak of the frog, the insistent clicking of the cricket, the melancholy song of the wolf, and the dancing fairy light of the firefly? Who can feel the coolness of a night breeze after a hot and dusty day and not know that there is something profoundly blessed, healing, and cleansing in the darkness of the night? Who is immune to the magic of a child's giggling at the hand shadows cast by a secreted flashlight onto the normally inanimate surface of the nursery wall? Magic and beauty. Therein lies the threat. Should we not question a system that forces us into silence about the glories of the night, that teaches us to call the dark times evil? Might we retrain ourselves to stop speaking of the dark times in our history and call them what they are, the fear-mongering dominator times, the times of power so feebly conceived that it cannot countenance most of the human family and experience without crying off with their heads? What a weak and fearful king we have allowed to rule us. It's time we learn to see him for the pathetic and foolish jester that he is. May the blessedness of the night be with you, and may the peace of the grove be in your heart, and may the plenty of the cauldron bless your life.